Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How about you? You gonna go down the A list?
Hey, if that's what you're going down, I'm going down it.
Well, guys, welcome back to another live session today. We're gonna go ahead and cover our watch lists for this week. Now, some of you guys may have some other plays that you're interested in. If you guys got something that you want to talk about, definitely post it in the little Zoom chat here, and I'll definitely take a look at it after we're done. But definitely exciting week. This is our second week for January. The first week was a little bit nuts, a little bit wild, but it was kind of awesome at the same time.
It was awesome.
Absolutely. So I hope everybody made money. I know we definitely turned out pretty nicely green for that week. So there's a couple earnings. We'll go ahead and cover a couple of those earnings this week. It's mostly banks. There's not a whole lot. If you guys I posted a bunch of charts this afternoon on my Twitter. If I put them in the chat in the Discord room, it really clutters things, so I try to avoid it too much. But if you go down here, there's definitely all the charts. A lot of these that we're going to cover tonight. If you want to go back and reflect back on them, I've got this recorded as well, so you guys can review this tonight. Some of you that are not on tonight, but definitely some earnings plays this week, which I need to go back and show those real quick. We go down here to the bottom. We got this little tab called Earnings Report under Market Data. Now, if you guys want a way to have news source, definitely come on down to Market Data. You can hit Market Data, and these are literally feeds that we have coming through here on our bot that post stuff that may be pertinent information for the stock market. Now, some of it is just a bunch of noise, in my opinion, but it can kind of help you guys if you want to stay on top of that too. But earnings this week are obviously a few of these names. I'm not really excited about any of them except TSM, Fria, and a couple banks here. We got Delta Airlines as well, so it may happen a little bit there on Thursday. But definitely, we like to play those earnings plays if they're looking good. Now, if you guys want to find future earnings plays, I highly recommend you guys that go in the easy way here to just stock twits, set yourself up an account, and you hit the little earnings calendar up here on the left side. You can get access to all the next weeks. It's all powered by Bazinga instead of paying the 130, 40, $50, whatever a month it is to have Bazinga. You can actually get it free straight through StockTwits, which StockTwits is free. But you can go through there. Obviously, it'll show all the earnings reports for this week. And of course, there's 9 reporting Monday, 7 reporting Tuesday, and so on. And you can kind of prepare yourself a little bit early for the weeks that are coming up. So you may hear us say, hey, we're going to start loading this, or we're going to start adding this. This chart is getting interesting. And people that want to do their homework or do a little bit of footwork can go ahead. This is the following week. Well, what are stocks in the following week that may point out of interest to us? And of course, we'll start looking at those. So as you go on, you can book out as far as you want to. I mean, January 27th, we've got Apple, Tesla, and Facebook, some big names. 26th, we've got AMD, GE, Starbucks, FCell, Snow. These are stocks that we always play, always have our interest, but what's added extra to it is we've got a catalyst coming up. We've got an earnings report that these stocks may have some drive towards, for as options players. You got Amazon Thursday, Fubo on Friday. And of course, you see how many's reporting 101, 102, 122, 170, so on. You want to click that day and you can scroll all the way down here and see every single one of them that are reporting. And of course, it'll show after the bell, which is after market close, or before the bell, which is before market open. But anyway, we'll cover some of these options plays. I never like to hold a call or a put into earnings. We like to play the move that goes towards it in anticipation. As an options trader, we're perceptive traders. We're percepting that the stock will go this direction in our favor of this, such and such. And we're going to play this such and such call or put in perception that the market will think this stock needs to have demand towards the direction of its earnings. And most of the time it's always calls, okay? Especially some of these stocks that we're very used to of playing. And of course, McDonald's is starting to get mentioned right now. It's got earnings coming up, it looks like on the 28th. Of course, we got some time there. 1, 2, almost 3 weeks before those earnings come out. So I know McDonald's is a name that we're probably going to start mentioning here in the coming days, coming weeks. I like to get interested on at least have a 2-week advantage on some of these that show up. So, but something to keep in mind. Some of you guys that are new here today, Just another way to stay ahead of the curve, so to speak. But we'll go ahead and cover some of these earnings plays. There's not many of them. I posted some in-depth analysis here on some of them, and there's only 1, 2, 3, 4. What, I got 6 here that we'll go ahead and cover. And then I'm going to go ahead and cover, all my favorite stocks that do not have earnings, but they're just stocks that look good for the week. And then you guys can take it forever, whatever you want to. But make sure you got notes if you want to write it down and say, hey, this stock kind of interested me. I'll go ahead and watch it for Monday or watch it for Tuesday. Just because we talk about it tonight doesn't mean that it's going to run tomorrow. It's on my watch list due to a reason that I think it could have a potential move for the week. Now, whether if that move is Monday, whether that move is Wednesday or Friday or whatever the move may actually happen, it may not even happen this week, but it has my interest to a certain degree that it could possibly move. And of course, that's why I go through every single one of these every pre-market before market open. I look at every single one of these charts before open and see if it's a candidate to put on the market watch list every morning. And that's where they'll post up right here in this pager that I pull out, and you guys see exactly why I'm acting upon entry of a breaking point, and then start looking for these resistance points. So if it looks ready that morning, it's going to go on this list. Okay. So if you guys want a link to this watch list, I've got the link right here, and I'm more than happy to share that with you guys. But we'll go ahead and cover some of these earnings plays real quick. I don't have all these earnings plays because I'm not going to play them. But if it's something of interest to you guys, definitely write it down and see how you guys want to play it. But TSM, this was a strong play last week. And if you're just now hearing about TSM because they have earnings coming up this week, you may have missed a lot of opportunity on TSM. TSM had a nice chart. I know JSB alerted this one a while back. And it's been running hot and heavy. And of course, it's carrying some of the tech sector because it is part of that sector or semiconductors in a pretty strong manner. Like we had MU last time, and now it's TSM. I guess MU, what was it, last week? So TSM is confirmed to report earnings approximately at 6 a.m. on Thursday, meaning that we can play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we'll go ahead and get out of our contracts and let the earnings come out the following morning, because I don't want to hold a call in anticipation of it beating earnings unless I've got some big, massive balls, and I don't mind doing that. But you're most likely going to get crushed unless it makes a very phenomenal move. Now, sometimes it can happen, and you can turn $1,000 into $10,000 the next morning, but it's not all that common. Sometimes you can wake up next morning and you're losing the entire $1,000 instead of making $10,000. So just keep that in mind if you guys hold into earnings. It's a 50-50 shot. It's betting that the stock will beat, and of course that IV crust, which is the implied volatility for the options that you're playing, get crushed. Okay, the premium drops like a rock the next day because the perception for that stock is no longer there. The perception for those contracts are no longer there. So we're playing contracts with options with perception that things are going to work in our favor. So I always like to sell it before close. If I'm playing it for that day instead of actually holding. Maybe I'll hold a lotto size, and you might, get that missed opportunity the following day to actually do really well. But I want to say that I've lost just as many times as I've won ever doing that, and it's just not worth the gamble for me personally. So anyway, TSM is confirmed to report earnings approximately 6 a.m. on Thursday, January 14th. There's a consensus earnings estimate of 92 cents per share, meaning it's a beat of 92 cents per share. If let's just say they beat better than 92 cents, the stock could move. It could run up, okay? It could go even further. But if it's less than 92, or let's just say it's barely above 92, the stock will most likely sell off, okay? Just because, the perception of the stock, beating earnings is great. It's already priced in. But if it's like astronomical, let's just say it's like a 500% increase or something all of a sudden on what the consensus was, then that perception was not obviously priced in, causing the stock into earnings to really run up even further in some cases. But anyway, I'll go through all this jazz right here. There was some notable buying of 20,000. Okay, this was on Monday, January 4th. There was some notable buying of 20,665 contracts of the $125 calls expiring for Friday, January 15th, this coming Friday. Options traders are pricing in a 5.1% move on earnings, and the stock has averaged at 2.0% move in recent quarters. So just because somebody bought 20,665 contracts doesn't mean it's going to be amazing come Friday morning. Or Thursday morning, I guess, when they report earnings there. So keep that in mind. They may sell. Who knows? They may sell their 20,000 contracts the night before, or hang on to a few afterwards. But we'll take a look at those contracts. So the 125 calls for expiration Friday. Let me pull up my little thing. I'm going to use Robinhood here as an example. So TSM options January 15th, 125 calls. They're $1.11 right now. Looks like they dropped 49% on Friday. Okay, so they're actually down quite a bit. The low was 72 cents. The high was $4.20. The delta here is they moved 23, almost 24 cents. For every dollar TSM moves up, these contracts will move almost 24 cents up. It shows that we're burning 18 cents a day on those options. So these lose 18 cents a day if the stock doesn't move at all. Okay, so in that sense, that's pretty raunchy burn. Taking a look at TSM's chart, see how much more upside we got, or if we don't have upside. It looks like definitely we saw a new high on Friday, and of course rejected at 126.04. So with that being said, it came all the way down here and found a bottom. It could actually come even lower. That's a pretty strong looking red candle for the daily. So let's take a look at the 2-minute chart. See that this is it. We gapped way up and then we sold all the way off. It looks like we found some common ground here around 117. So it could bounce easily tomorrow or the following days or whatever and start pushing back up to that 125. Who knows? But it's something to watch this week if you guys are interested. Options 111. Chart looks like it may reverse. There is no way to tell unless we start breaking around 121, in my opinion, to start recovering from that massive drop on Friday. Going on to the next one here, guys. We've got Jpmorgan. This is the banks. So I want to watch these in whole as an entire sector. Okay, you guys have a banks. If you guys got a bank watch list, I highly recommend having you guys a bank or a sector watch list. I've got a sector watch list right here called banks, and it's literally every stock that is associated to the banking sector. Okay, look at all these. It's a lot of stocks to go cover if you want to. Now, if Jpmorgan does really good, or let's just say perception of Jpmorgan is going to do good, then of course Jpmorgan is going to go up, and every single one of these bank stocks are going up. As we see right now, they're definitely all looking pretty peachy. That's not so much. There's Jpmorgan, CME, there's Visa. We've got Citigroup, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, but all these bank stock. There's Raymond James is getting some traction too. There's all these banking stocks, so I like to watch all of them in coordination to see, oh, there might be a play there if perception of Jpmorgan's earnings coming up actually really helps. Well, what you got here as an advantage is it's not just Jpmorgan, it's multiple banks. Okay, we've got Jpmorgan, we got Wells Fargo, we got Citi, even got PNC Group in there. So something to kind of pay attention to. Those are all 4 banks for Friday that may help the entire banking sector as a whole, and there could be possible plays there to kind of play with. Okay, here's PNC's chart right there, which I didn't chart, but it's getting earnings coming up for Friday too. So looking at the consensus on this, okay, so it's confirmed to report earnings approximately 6:55 a.m. on Friday. It's estimated around $2.69 per share on revenue of $28 billion on their earnings. Going through all this on Monday, January 4th, there was a notable buying of almost 127,000 contracts of the $100 calls expiring Friday, January 15th. So somebody bought a ton of calls. Let's take a look at those Jpmorgan calls. $100 calls, so those are deep in the money. You got to think about it. Because we're at $137 now. They were hundreds, right? Yeah, $100 calls, so deep in the money contracts, which they're probably going to execute those if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they're $36 now. And of course, there's only 948 open interest in volume. It's really low. My guess is they're probably going to execute them. That's a lot of contract, or if they haven't already been selling some. But looking at this, we're obviously going to be looking at out of the money, see how much more perception Jpmorgan has. So taking a look at Jpmorgan's chart. We've got a couple gaps down here to fill. And of course, we definitely been on a run since, was this November? Yeah, early November, and we've been pushing up. It looks like we've hit some resistance right here at 138.17. Um, Candles are pretty flat right here. We are at the highest we've ever closed at, though. Whoops, let's move my thing. We are at the highest we've ever closed at, though. So taking a look at a 2-minute chart, we kind of see what Friday's action was. Okay, so we fell down, went up, fell down, and went back up. So you literally got a double bottom bounce right here. So there's a possibility this gets to actually break up and push new highs. Maybe when it breaks this level right here, it may interest me for calls. Okay. And then, of course, I want to start looking at those price targets above here. Be like, okay, well, we start breaking that as an entry point. That's a good entry point, actually. So if tomorrow we break this area as an entry point, I'm going to start looking at these levels for resistance. Maybe even up here is another one. So 139, 138. I want to say roughly 137.50, maybe one. We may have some even around 137. Okay, so let's say entry of break of 136.50. It looks like PT1, PT2, PT3, and PT4. Okay, so as the stock goes strength, I'm going to make options on that. I'm going to make some money on that move. So I would probably play 140 calls. Yeah, I'd say 140 calls for January 15th. Let's see what those look like. So taking a look at JPM's 140 calls. They're $1. They're cheap. Okay, good spread, good volume. Low of 58 cents, high of $1.18, so 100% move there. Every dollar Jpmorgan moves, these are going to make 27 cents a contract. Theta is still pretty rough, so you got to make sure that stock is in your favor, okay? If it's not, this is going to be eating you a little bit, okay? The theta burn. And also the delta is going to be burning a little bit there too against you. If it falls against you, it's still 27 cents against you versus 27 cents for you. So make sure you guys have a risk management while you're entering there, while you're looking for those price targets. Every price target that gets hit could fall back as well. So just keep that in mind. You can even throw this back down to an hourly candle. Hourly right there. And you can kind of get a good perception of resistances and support as well. So yeah, I like it for break of 136.42 looks like. And then I think we'll easily see that 138. And then of course I've got a pivot up here around 139.48, 140, 141, and so on. But I like that one for tomorrow. I actually may throw that up on my main list for tomorrow morning. But anyway, just another possible play for you guys if you want to play along with that. Now we've got a Fria, okay? This is a weed stock. This is part of the weed sector. This is the only weed stock that's actually having earnings this week. So I've got a watch list for weeds. There we go. So these are the top weed stocks, okay? And Fria is right up here. It's going to be throwing out some earnings. I guess, when is it? Let's take a look at these details here. So on 8 a.m. Thursday morning, so same time as TSM, but it's not the same sector, okay? So weed sector here, 8 a.m. Thursday morning, consensus estimates of a 2 cent per share loss, okay? So a loss of it. Earnings estimate, so let's just say, okay, on Thursday, January 7th, there was some notable buying of $5,280 contracts of the $10.50 calls expiring January 15th. Options traders are pricing in a 16.4% move on the earnings. Let's take a look at this. What we got here. So $16 or $10.50 calls. Actually, we're at 857. They bought those on January 7th, which was Thursday. Okay, and the stock actually fell. Okay, so they bought them on the day that we actually saw all-time highs, and the next day we actually fell. So they're losing. They're losing on that option right now if they didn't cut their loss. But with that being said, I could go ahead and throw this line up right here and say, let's see, January 14. Boom. There we go. That white line that you guys see drawn through there is when earnings would report. Okay. Looks like we came back, though. That candle closed up actually pretty high, even though it's red, closed up pretty high, meaning that we closed higher than our lows. So here's our lows right here. We gapped up, we fell, we pushed back up, we had a resistance here, we came back down, but still a higher low. and we're on an upwards direction in that sense right here. Okay, it's slowly, but it could continually grind. Let's just say we break. I'm actually going to lower this line a little bit right here. I like it best due to the fact that we've got resistance and multiple supports through this area. So let's just say we break above that line. Then I want to start looking for resistances and support above that. Okay. So going back to a daily chart, you've got those lines. I have not actually charted this one out today, but I'm going to go ahead and throw that up there just to get a little idea what's going on. Let's just say we break above that for an entry. Okay. We got strength. We got strength on our side. Our perception of the stock is it's going to run towards good earnings or towards a 2-cent loss, I guess, if it actually wants to do that. Maybe people think it's underpriced and it could see $2, who knows, or $10, who knows. But I'm going to lower this one down right here because we got some highs right there. I'm going to make sure I throw up a couple more. I'm going to go back to my daily. And I'm just going to squeak in a few more right here to play with on the 2-minute chart. There we go. Now let's tweak them on our 2-minute chart and see where those areas possibly could hit. Okay. So right here, we've got a little bit of a resistance right there due to this little high that we had right there. I'm actually going to pull it down a little bit more. This one right here, I'm going to put it right there. Okay. So I've got several points of contact that make that respected. Resistance, support, resistance, and several supports in this area right here. So in that being said, I could say I want to enter here, and then I'm going to call this PT1, PT2, and PT3. Okay. And if we break PT3, then I'm going to start throwing up some fib lines and start getting some all-time highs in that sense. So going back to a daily chart, this line right here that these multiple lines that we threw up, $9.14 and $9, just look like they go straight across a wick there. Okay. But you don't know it until you go look back on that 2-minute time frame. So it's good to look at multiple time frames, but that's where I'd say I would like it. Okay. Entry at 876, $9 PT1, PT2, and PT3. Okay. So going back and let's say we play a $9 call option. I'd say that's pretty respectable with that price. PT1 is at $9 anyway, so we'll get in the money after we surpass PT1. APHA. This is right up your alley, float. So $9 calls are 46 freaking cents. 40, man, oh shoot, these are nice. 45 bid, 46 ask. 1,004 in volume on Friday. The low was 36, high was 64. Delta is 43 cents. That's good. And the Theta is only 4-cent burn. I'm going to be all over that tomorrow, guys, on a $100 challenge account. This makes a great play for that. You could actually probably get away with $10. Let's see what those look like. No, it's too spready. 21 and 24. I don't like 32. You can almost get away from 9.5s though. Yeah, you could actually get away with 10s, but I just don't like that spread. I'll probably play the $9 calls though. So this very likely, if it looks like it's looking good in pre-market, that may go on the list tomorrow morning as well. And you guys could play this in continuation, okay? So it looks like we were having trying to have a comeback on Friday. They still closed that candle up pretty good for Friday, so we could potentially keep pushing up as we start seeing these next levels that I just marked out here for you. Moving on to the next earnings, we've got Wells Fargo, another bank stock with Jpmorgan. You guys know that one's having earnings. WFC, let's see what we look like. Looks like we try to close a little bit from our higher than our lows on Friday. What's the consensus there? January 15th consensus earnings is 60 cents per share. Go all the other details there. Go to the notable buying. On Thursday, January 7th, there was notable buying of 36,000 contracts for the $35 calls expiring Friday, February 19th. So someone's buying some with some plenty of extra time there on them. So WFC, what do those look like? February 19th, which are monthlies. $35 call. Oh, they're cheap. Okay, I can see why they did it. 93 cents on bid, 98 cents on ask. That's a really good option. If we start to look up here and start breaking beyond these levels right here, let's say that level right there, 33.90 looks pretty good because we've got 2 resistance points. I could even probably stretch it back and get a little more. Okay, we've almost got an opening price that's right there at that point as well. So 34 bucks roughly could possibly be an entry. Okay, so we break 34 bucks. Then I may want to start paying attention to that spot, 34.28, 35.08. And of course, you got this gap right there to fill. So I'll go and throw it up through there, which is a low right there. We could almost call that a PT2. Now, depending on how strong it is, as you see, Wells Fargo has short candles. They're not really strong candles, so I don't like to play these anyway. But if you guys are like to hold off until the earnings report, which you can throw you guys a line up here. Let's say January 15th is those earnings. Now you got that white line to respect on your chart and know, okay, that's when earnings are coming up. We'll see exactly how it goes. If it goes up here towards gap fill, I could actually respect this line right here, that opening price there, and then throw up another one right there. So the more I have, the better off it really is, to be honest. That's a little close to our breaking point, to be honest. So we'll see what happens. It may not be a play on Monday, but it could be a play on Tuesday, or it could be a play on Wednesday, and then play for one day or something like that this week. But just another option for you guys. We got credit, Citigroup there. I mean, C. Let's take a look at C. Very similar chart. It's kind of funny how all the bank charts are very similar here. Let's take a look what they said here. So on Friday, they're supposed to report 8 a.m. Friday. Estimated is at $1.34 per share in revenue. Notable buying. So on Tuesday, January 5th, there was a notable buying of 5,009 contracts of the $62 put options. Okay, so someone's going against Citigroup here for some puts. Good possibility for that right there, to be honest. So January 5th, I mean, why did these guys buy puts? Literally the day before it actually skyrockets. That's hilarious. They're losing their ass. They bought puts on this candle only to have the following 3 days go way up. So that's why I don't like to play options flow, literally. Okay, I gotta have to look respectably at the chart before I just jump in on options flow. Just an example of the very reason I avoid it. But anyway, I'm going to have to watch this one. This one does not look ready for tomorrow, to be honest. If we start breaking above, let's say these levels, let's just say we break above Friday's high, which is our opening price, 66. Then I might start paying attention to opening price at 67.09. Then we've got our high right there, which I could probably stretch these across and hit multiple points on the chart. Yeah, right there. You guys see it's hitting a low there and it's hitting the high there. So we'll see how it respects that level and wants to push through it, but may not play this one this week at all. I'll go back to my A list here. Delta Airlines. You guys all know how the airlines are getting treated right now during COVID. Not a whole lot of action with Delta Airlines, but it has been in an uptrend and it's pulled back for the past couple weeks here. If this does get good action, you guys could play something like Boeing. You could play American Airlines. You could play LUV, which is Southwest Airlines. Some of those. To me, the airlines is just not really exciting right now. So I'm probably staying away from it, but this is something you guys could watch if you wanted to. Reporting earnings 8:30 a.m. on Thursday. They're expected to have a $2.39 loss. Now think of it this way, okay? Let's say they only had a 50-cent share per loss. The stock would jump. Okay, it's weird. It's like, well, they lost. They had an earnings loss. Well, if it's better than the consensus on the earnings, then the stock could actually jump because people are percepting the stock to have a $2.39 loss. And it could actually have only a 50-cent loss, which is better than what people expected, causing the stock to jump, even though it was still a loss. So just something to keep in mind. But looks like January 7th, there was some notable buying of the 8,426 contracts of the $41 calls expiring February 19th. If I'm not mistaken, Delta Airlines is pretty cheap. So looking at those February 19 calls are probably pretty dang cheap. There we go. What were they, 35s? 41s, my bad. So the $2.16 roughly. Okay, good open interest, low volume Friday. Low was $2.07, $2.45 was the high. Okay, so the delta is really good and the theta is really good. This is actually not a bad option to play with it if you guys are interested on it. And if the chart looks ready for this week to push up and maybe, let's say we break $40 there, or 41 roughly. I'd say actually, let's just say we break Thursday's high or Friday's high. And then I want to start looking at a PT around 40.98. Okay, there's PT1. She gave us, which was Thursday's high. And then let's say we want to throw up a candle. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and throw up a few through here. And then we'll take a look at it on the 2-minute chart and space those out accordingly. Okay, or even an hourly chart if you guys need it. So it did sell off into close right there. So let's just say we got an entry of this break right there, okay? Roughly 40.69. I don't know. I may even play it down here. There's nothing really exciting about this. I'd say a break right there. We got some lows and some high right there. So we break that area, which is $40.45 could be potential. I want to go up here. I want to pull this down as a potential PT1. PT2, maybe even PT3 right there. So move from 40.45 all the way to 40.95. So that I don't know, you might get a little option money out of that. So let's just say our chart finally retraces. We stay above our lower low here, and then push on up here. Let's say we break that for an entry. We look for this as a PT1, PT2, and PT3. And then we're going to have to start going back on the chart to see what other PTs beyond that will be. But something to keep in mind. How do you make the curve trend lines again? Yeah, I'll show you real quick. So let's say I'm going to delete all this. I'm going to hit the log button here on TrendSpider. It's going to change. You see how it changes my chart a little bit here? It lengthens my candles. It all is all it does. It stretches the candles out. Then let's say I'm going to grab my trend line tool right here, and I'm going to put a point from here to here, okay? I've got 3 lows of contact on that trend line. Let's say I want to draw a couple more through here. One through there, and one through there. Looks like we've got quite a few candles respecting that trend. I want to throw one off of the low right here. Okay, I've got a close right there. I've got quite a few candles respecting that line. Okay, after I've drawn those trend lines, I just hit the log button again, and it curves them up a little bit. Didn't curve them much, just due to the fact that these candles aren't long, but you see it's got a slow curve to it. Some of them are more extreme than others. Yeah, ANV, the $100 challenge is right up here. Some of the guys in the chat room are playing the $100 challenge, which is literally a $100 options challenge account. If you want to go to that chat room, check out the details on it there. There's a video of it right here. And of course some commentary with it. But some people are trading a $100 challenge with markets as we're trading live every day. All right. So anyway, that's all I got for the earnings plays this week, guys. If you got questions on that, feel free to holler at me if you want to. But I'm gonna go ahead and cover some of my top favorite plays for the week and give a little insight on that, and then we'll see how these play out. Of course, I've got American Airlines up here. I'm just gonna watch it. Nothing crazy about this play right now. Apple has a beautiful chart. We guys all know that they're trying to work with, what is it, Hyundai right now? Apparently there's news coming back out about Hyundai. Hyundai retracted saying that they were in talks. I think something leaked out or something, who knows? But apparently they're talking about it again this weekend, where Hyundai and Apple are trying to work out a deal, it sounds like. It doesn't sound like the deal's gone through yet, but it sounds like they're trying to work out a deal in order to help Apple come up with an electric EV car as well. So something to watch. I do like Apple. It looks like we closed out pretty nicely on Friday's candle. Sure, it's a red candle, but it is a higher close. And of course, you go back and look at this 2-minute candle. You guys see how we bounced around right here, but still definitely closed in an upward trend. So I like this move right now. It's got a nice push up here. I want to see if we start breaking these highs, and I might get interested for an entry. And of course, start looking for those higher PTs up beyond this. So I'll pull this line down right there. There's my entry. Okay, we break that right there, which is these highs. I'm all over that for an entry. Then of course I'm going to look at PT1, PT2, and PT3, and so on. Okay, I'll have to make sure I space those out correctly for the watch list tomorrow. But something to look forward to, and you guys can play 134 calls probably. I like to play 133 most likely. I want to play pretty close to the money on Apple. You can't play too far out of the money on Apple. because those options just don't get the value that they need. So make sure you guys don't play too far out of the money, or this delta really starts dropping. Okay, this right here is how much money you make for every dollar the stock goes up. So if the stock goes up $1, you're going to make almost 32 cents a contract. Okay. You start getting too far out of the money, see how lower it goes. Now you're only going to make 11.5 cents a contract with these 140 calls that expire. And of course, you're going to have a theta burn of 8 cents, meaning that if Apple doesn't move in your favor at all, you're going to lose at least 8, almost 9 cents a contract as it is just sitting there. Okay. So the further out options, yeah, they're cheaper, but they're cheaper for a reason. Okay. So make sure you play a little bit close to that money so you guys have a respected move. You got to pay for it a little bit. And of course, if you feel like you need more time, let's say if you're like, well, I really would like to play the 140s, then make sure you add yourself plenty of time. And you can grab those 140s and you see the delta really picks up again, and then the theta really goes down. Okay, it's because it's got that added time. You're paying for the premium, and of course it really pans out that way. But Apple, I do like Apple for this week. It's almost a play every day, to be honest. ABBV. I don't know much about the company, but the chart looks good. This one is actually pushing up pretty nicely, all up to these 109 highs. We'll see exactly how that one does, but I'll keep it up on the watch list. And of course, let's take a look at those options, see what they look like. January 15, let's say 108. Okay, they're cheap. 91 bid, 96 ask. Plenty of volume. That's a sign I like to see, is a lot of good volume. The delta is 41 cents, which is really good. If we move up $1, we're going to make 41 cents on a 94-cent option. I mean, that's getting close to 50%, for just moving up $1 on the stock, and an 8-cent theta, which is not bad at all. So if we push up, let's say from 107 to 109, I mean, hell, we're almost getting $2 move right there to the highs. So I'm liking this stock. Of course, I'll see what it looks like in pre-market tomorrow, but this could very possibly be a play tomorrow morning. AMCI, this has been a SPAC play, if I'm not mistaken. It looks like we had a strong close on Friday, so it's got my interest up here. I want to see if it wants to push on up. I've got to go back and look to see exactly when they're having their merger meeting. If you guys want to keep up with some of these SPACs, I do have a room right here for it, where it has a lot of this different data from this Twitter page that keeps up with everything to do with SPACs. Of course, they got their own little website here for SPAC Track, and you guys can do your own due diligence if you want to on that. There's a calendar right here. This shows all the upcoming merger meetings for these particular plays. I don't see AMCI on the list yet. So it looks like there's probably going to be a couple weeks, since the latest one, or the furthest one out, is February 11th, okay? Almost a month out. So maybe a little while for AMCI in regards to that, but it could still have its pumps, okay? And these SPACs like to have their pumps in anticipation, and of course, if you like to play it, it's something to play. But I like the chart, so it may be something I'll pay attention to this week. AMD, really nice push on Thursday. Kind of saw a nice new high on Friday. We'll see exactly how that one retaliates going into tomorrow. If you guys know TSM, I'm putting these stocks in the same sector, okay? TSM's got earnings on Thursday morning. So this AMD may actually react with TSM if TSM does really good. So something to pay attention to if this one wants to push up. And we're so close to those all-time highs. I know AMD wants to crush the $100, okay? We got 97, 99, 98 bucks there roughly. I know it's going to want to come up here and crush that $100. AMD, I'm not going to say it's a cult stock, but there is a lot of people that really are invested in AMD in the long term, in sense of kind of a Tesla cult type situation. So something to keep in mind. We'll see how we break these highs, but I do like it for this week. Amazon, I watch it just because I watch it. I don't always play it, but when it does provide a play, I'm going to keep it up here and always watch it. Fria, we just talked about that with earnings coming up. We've got APRE is another one that dropped massively, okay? So I'm watching this one. This is a cheap play. It's $5 something play. It dropped massively on, what was this, December 24th. Well, apparently they're going to be presented at, it's like a bio stock with a low float. So I'm going to watch it. I may not play it. We'll see. It's so super cheap down here on the chart. So it may actually hang out and bounce, but there's news on the 12th where they're going to be presented at Jpmorgan, some kind of Jpmorgan's health conference of some kind. So Um, I'll see what it looks like this week, but the 12th is coming up. That's Tuesday. Reason I've got it on my list here is a potential play. Yeah, Triple D. You're right, Alex. I need to throw that one up here. Triple D. I've got to watch this one, guys. This one came to my attention. I guess someone mentioned it in the chat room. I have not played this one really until they mentioned it. This has made some stupid moves. Okay. Obviously, these daily candles look almost unplayable, but of course, as day traders, we can play those 2-minute candles very easily. I mean, look at the motion that this thing has done. It's very smooth motion play. I think it's a bigger float, so it does really well. It ran all the way from $12 to 25, came all the way back down to $19, $20 range there, and hit all the way up to 31. Is it 31 and some change? And it's come all the way back down here to 23. What's to say that this won't continue its little path and, possibly, maybe see 35 next, or even hell 40. I wouldn't even put it past it at this point. So we'll see what this one watch. I do need to watch that one, Alex. Thanks for bringing that up, buddy. So I'm going to throw that on the watch list as well this week. Moving on, let's see, what was our at APRE Boeing. I just watched Boeing due to the fact that it is an airline stock and it does play a big part of SPY. So I like to pay attention to Boeing. Dan Hogan says $100 chat is taking a $100 account and making 20% each week on it. That's what we're aiming for. Correct, Dan. I hope that answers your question. ANV there. Baba's had some pretty crazy struggles lately. Apparently, the CEO has gone missing, and some people have said he's being. I don't know. I'm not going to spread any rumors on this, but apparently there's some shit going on with Baba with the CEO, and it is what it is. I'm just a chart player, so we'll see what happens with that. But I do like this chart. I'm going to watch it to see if we get back and maybe rebound for some gap fill here or not. So I'm paying attention to it this week, but not necessarily a play tomorrow. Bank of America, I'm watching it with the bank sector to see how it reacts with Wells Fargo, Jpmorgan, Citigroup, all having earnings on Friday. So I want to pay attention to this one as well if I decide to play the banks. We did get some news. Yes, Freaky Fast. Jets are going down this weekend with Boeing as well. So that is something to keep in mind. Boeing, I don't know how Boeing's going to react to that. Maybe if, let's just say, that jet crashing, what was it, in Indonesia or somewhere? If that jet crashing leads to the FFA or whatever, to suspend them on the 737 again, or maybe stop flying the 737 again and then go back for reevaluating and all that stuff, that could possibly drop Boeing. I don't know. Boeing's a pretty fearless stock when it comes to bad news because it seems it's very prone for bad news. So if it does, we'll see. But yeah, you could have a point there, Freaker Fast. Maybe there will be a put option actually on Boeing if this really gets reacted in a negative manner. Yeah, that plane was almost 30 years old. That's true. But something to watch this week. We'll see. Bank of America, Baidu. Okay, there's news that came out on Baidu. You guys know I posted it on my Twitter today, right here, just before we got onto the meeting tonight. But Baidu, or Baidu, whatever you want to call it, the partner with Geely to make intelligent electric vehicles. All of a sudden, Baidu's coming out of the woodwork and is joining forces with this OTC ticker, GELYF. There's actually two OTC tickers to this Geely. You guys can take a look at it if you want to. GELYF is the first one. It's already gapped up very nicely on Friday. In anticipation of this news is my speculation. And of course, there's Y, which is a more expensive one that's did the exact same thing. And, if you guys like to play OTC in these very spready stocks, there is no options for these. So play this very carefully if you do play the OTC versions of this news. But going back to Baidu here, we closed at all-time highs on Friday. This is unexpected news to come out tonight. So we may, be pounding the house on 250s or even further. You guys see how long these candles can move. Here's 168 to 186. Friday's move was from 218 to 240. Okay. A little over 20, was it $22 move? So we could easily get on up here to 60s. Okay. 260s. If it really wants to put in a big candle tomorrow off that news, my guess is we'll gap up, maybe do a gap up to like 250 or something, and then move to 260s, something like that. Maybe, and have another gap right here as we got a gap right here. Don't quote me on this, but this is just me thinking out loud. There's a possibility we'll most likely have that tomorrow morning based off the news. Um, we could be looking at 263. So I probably won't throw it on the watch list in the morning if the gap up is too extreme because it's risky. But we'll probably play it in the live stream. You guys can kind of play along with it if you want to, and we'll call it out as we see it. But just be careful of it. The moves on this one are very extreme, and the options pay really well with BDU. Blink, gonna keep this one on watch. It's EV, everything about Blink. I love it. It often gives us presentable plays every day. Not every day, but almost every day. CBAT, nice move off the chart here. So I'm watching it as well. It is part of the energy sector. This is getting hot right now. Of course, Clove right now is, was it IPOC? I guess options are going to be tradable for IPOC on some of the brokers finally. So maybe this will get some funny action tomorrow as well. Something to keep in consideration for tomorrow. CLSK has been a freaking beast. Been alerting this play. Hell, I don't know, since December. We've been talking about CLSK for a while. If you ever want to go see a ticker, guys, just type it up here in the Discord on the chat bar, and you can scroll down, and it looks like we have multiple pages. So we started talking about this, back in December, to where this stock was actually pertinent information. So looks like JSB is definitely talking about it first here in December. The guy is always on these first. So something to keep in mind. Big moves off this stock. So see exactly what we do. I mean, hell, this was December 2nd, where he was talking about it, which was $10 a share. We're knocking on 40. So something to keep a watch, guys, as we keep making new highs. We did pull back pretty hard Friday, but doesn't mean this thing is over with yet. I would like to see a pullback, to something like this and then finally go up another leg. But who's to say that that's going to happen? These stocks are just rolling. Okay. We may pull back or consolidate and pull back another leg, something like that. So, as we keep playing, I'm going to be watching every level. If it breaks a level, I'm going to jump in. CRWD, watching this one as well with the cybersecurity stuff. It seems to always be interesting up here near highs. Of course, I got Delta due to the fact it's got earnings coming up on Friday or Thursday. I mean, DBX is Dropbox. Clark has mentioned this one a few times. So this one is a super cheap option play. Is the only reason I got it in here. If I go to DBX options, just for the $100 challenge in consideration of that, these options are pretty cheap. You can get $23 calls. They got good volume, good spread. 24s, say 1 cent spread, still decent volume, low of 22, high of 35. If the chart looks like it's going to play out this week and may make a decent little move, this could supply a decent little play for somebody that wants to play it. Going back to Triple D, of course, we talked about that one. D King, I don't know, why do I got this square here? I need to remove it. D King has got a little comeback action happening. We did falter off pretty good here, I guess on the 4th, and it coming back pretty nicely here. So I'm watching this one. I could actually even throw myself up a line right here. Not that I don't have enough lines on here already, but throw up a line right there. See if we decide to break that upper trend line and start crushing up to some new highs. There's nothing about that one really. Facebook, just what I'm watching. Facebook, I mean, just something to keep in mind. The whole banning Trump on social media thing is kind of affecting some of the stuff. I mean, Twitter, I guess, fell pretty hard. So I'd kind of stay away from social media stocks right now. But I still watch them due to the fact that it does affect SPY. FCell, crazy moves. This stock has come a long ways, guys. And of course, we can go back to the Discord here where we first started talking about FCell. You can go back all the way back here down. Wow, page 14. Back in July. July of last year. What was it back then? Of course, Technica was talking about it then too. Yeah, FCell's been a long play for a while, since July, I guess, of last year. But anyway, very nice move on FCell. Hell, where was it back in July? I guess during around this $2 phase right here where we jumped up a little bit. But look at this. We're over 15 bucks. What's not to say that this stock won't be a 20, 30, 40, $50 stock here this year, okay? This is another energy sector stock. Something to keep in mind. It kind of gets reacted with the EVs and energy and all that stuff. So we'll see how this one reacts, but I do like this one long term. So it does stay on my watch list every week. Fire, JSB alerted this one back when we had this massive move on December 18th. It's building up, it's consolidating up here, but I'm not throwing it out. It's part of cybersecurity, so I like to watch it. Food2 alerted this one the other day, guys, and this thing has just been paying nonstop. Where did we first mention Food2? Just out of curiosity. Fudo mentioned it on December 21st. It looks like we had a well alert on August 20 calls back in December 24th. Futu still continuing here. But anyway, banger up play, guys. It has been continuing on the watch list. It does play really, really well. We'll see how these new highs decide to start visiting up here, I guess. But it's been a complete beast this past week. FUV, I'm liking the way that this one is setting up. It's consolidating in a phase. It does continue making higher lows on the daily here. If we continue pushing up, we could start seeing back above $20, but only time will tell on that one. So watching it weekly for now. GHIV is another SPAC, and what has me interested in this one is that it's a couple $1 billion merge coming into this one. If you guys go back to the SPAC calendar right here, you guys can see that it has having the shareholder meeting coming up on the 20th in 10 days to approve that merge, okay? Approved business combination with United Wholesale Mortgage. Of course, you can look up that stuff if you want to there, I guess. Total trust is $78 billion. But anyway, it's a lot of money so far. They've raised the lunch right here. But something to keep in mind, guys, this play does, a lot of us are trying to grab the dips, especially under 12 bucks if you can get it. But for the most part, I'm holding long commons on this one for now. And it does have options, I do believe. So you can day trade the options if you want to, or play some options with long expiration. Just know when the merge comes that it could possibly sell off a little bit after the merge. But in the wake of potential coming up, this could potentially start breaking new highs this week or next week in anticipation, of that merge coming up. And of course, there's a lot of pump groups that like to play some of this. You guys all know the guys from Atlas, they do like to play some of these SPACs. So they could very likely start pumping some of these plays in anticipation of that merge coming up. So something to keep an eye on. Goldman Sachs, I'm just watching it with the bank sector. INTC, it's been a tech play. Still watching this one to some degree, seeing if there's a play. JD did a pretty crazy move. What was that on Tuesday? Yeah, big move on Tuesday from 88 to 96 bucks. Still watching to see how we build on this chart and if it wants to push up higher. JKS, part of the energy sector, so I do keep a watch on it. JMIA, this is the South Africa Alibaba, if you will. This thing has made some crazy moves from November, back all the way from July of last year. So to see this thing continue climbing, it won't surprise me here. And I think it's setting up for another high coming up here in the next couple weeks, most likely. J&J, I'm just watching it due to the healthcare on that one with vaccines. Jpmorgan. KC kind of caught my attention tonight. Was going through some of my stuff and found KC. KC looks really good. Huge move on Friday from 44 bucks, 43.50 actually, all the way up here to 48. And the options, they're a little bit thin, but they're not unplayable. And it's a cloud. I guess it's a cloud software, cloud storage, and cloud computation. So you can kind of play it with the cloud stuff. Ddog is another cloud play that's been getting some action. The $50 calls here, it's pretty thin. You could back things up to a February, and you could get a little bit better with better open interest. 340 bid, 390 ask. The Greeks are better. Theta and Delta look really good. Low of 250, high of 370. So I would be interested in these $50 calls for February. This play wants to start breaking up some new highs. So it's got my interest this week. And of course, I need to throw Ddog on there, I guess. I did chart it out tonight. If I'm going to see how the cloud sector acts. Ddog is getting a little action there too. So I'll pay attention to it this week. And options do pay pretty good on that one too. Going to the next one here, KNDI EV stock that's got itself a reversal started on Wednesday of last week. It is starting to pick up pace, it looks like, so we can start pushing up some good moves. And this one pays pretty good too. Of course, LI, part of the EV sector as well. Li Auto, any of these EV stocks I do like to pay attention to. But nice moves on that one. MIK, another stock that's got my interest. Nothing in particular, just like the chart. Microsoft, watching it due to the fact it is S&P 500. MU, had earnings, I guess was on the 7th. Was that Friday? No, Thursday. Gapped massively up all the way up here to 83s and then fell. So I think it needs a day or two of consolidation or even pullback all the way to 74s. We'll see, but I like to pay attention to it. Neta is another chart I'm paying attention. There is no options on this one, by the way. So I've got Netflix. I've got Neo. You guys don't know about the whole Neo day this weekend. I'm going to go back and double check what was it that Neo had going on. So let's see here. Neo, what was the descriptions of Neo Day? They're signing up with Nvidia, I know. Something about Nvidia and a new sedan and some battery life or something like that, along those lines. Yeah, partnering with Neo. There you go, Zach. Oh, QCOM also. Okay, well, maybe they got that going for them too. But yeah, something to keep an eye on this week. I think this thing's going to blow up. It won't surprise me to see this thing in the $100 range eventually. Not saying it's going to be this month or even next month. It could be April, it could be May before we see the $100 range. But I think we're in good hands to see this thing continue climbing. To me, I feel like this is the strongest China EV type play sector stock out of all of them. I do like XBEV and LI and some of those others. But Neo, it's pretty massive to see the amount of move that this is actually going in terms of growth of what it's doing. So we'll see how this one continues, but most likely this is blowing up again tomorrow and will be a play in the morning. NNDM, this has been a constant chart. I still like to watch it and play it. Of course, Nvidia here. If Nvidia gets action off of this, we'll see. Multiply 100 says their battery swap system is perfect for America. Okay, well, that's cool too, buddy. But a lot of good things on Neo. Nvidia, I don't like calls until we break 546, okay? We've had it many times come up here and reject it, okay? Right here as well. And I don't like puts unless it breaks, the support area here. But I'm not in the business of playing puts really. So with that being said, I'd love to see us get back up here. We'd break that 546 area and then start seeing back up here to maybe get up to new highs. But for now, I'm not playing this until we break out of that orange zone that I have drawn there. You guys see how the chart is when I pull it back down, how we've climbed so dramatically and then consolidated here. So if I was to draw it, you could almost say we've got an ascending triangle. If I threw up a trend line like this right here, that is continually grinding up. Maybe maybe we stay above this right here and work our way out of it and then break up to some new levels. Who knows? But it's something to watch and pay attention to as this chart continues to build. PAGS is another chart that's kind of got my attention, but nothing right now. Penn, I'm watching this with D King. Betting, this is the betting world stock, and it has done really good. It made a nice move on Friday, Played it briefly, but didn't give them extra move or momentum that I wanted to make that play properly. But as a whole, was a pretty nice move going into it. So I want to see some strength, maybe even break up here towards the $100 range and eventually visit that and go beyond it. Planter, I don't have this charted on the daily, but I do have it charted on the 4-hour. I mean, we'll see how this one continues right here. I'd love to see us break above that trend line right here. Yeah, I'm going to throw it right there. See us break above that particular area right there. We'll see how we actually continue. This thing gets shorted so freakishly hard. But it does give ample plays every now and then, so something to pay attention to. Plug is just gone. Okay, there's a lot of good stuff coming out for Plug right now. This is the Plug power. This is what charges these electric cars that are getting so pushed this year. So to see Plug come up here to $55 freaking dollars, I mean, is nuts. I mean, we were playing this thing back in was it July, June from $5. I mean, we're knocking on 55 of last year. It's nuts. We've been playing this thing on a steady weekly basis. It has been astronomical. Of course, we got some gaps right here. I don't expect to fill anytime soon. But it is just, it's breaking away and running, and it's gone. PSAC, this is another stock I'm just watching, and it's a new EV SPAC play. Piton, nice push on this one right now. We'll see how we keep pushing up to break new highs. PayPal, watching it with the banks, and also watching this with Bitcoin. You guys didn't know you can actually trade Bitcoin on your PayPal app on your phone. It's weird, but yeah, you can do it. You can also buy and purchase and send Bitcoin to others off your PayPal phone as well. So pretty cool advantage that PayPal's given us, and it does play fairly well if you catch this move right. But we're near all-time highs on this one. Of course, I got QCOM up here due to the interest you guys are showing here with NEO, Nvidia, TSM earnings coming up. We'll see how this continues to push you up, but it does look pretty good as a whole for a possible play. Ruger, just because of the whole rioting situation that was going on at Capitol, made this stock flare up, but I want to pay attention to some of those stocks to some degree. Riot, Bitcoin play that has just been freaking running. If Bitcoin does really well, this will continue going. If I'm not mistaken, Bitcoin is actually down and could possibly continually coming down as a correction. So Riot may not actually be a strong play for this week, or maybe later in the week. Who knows? But something I'm paying attention to, as it does give ample trade opportunities. Roku, all-time highs up here, 2 past days. There is no stopping Roku. They're always signing deals. They're getting new acquisitions of some kind, it seems like. But to see this thing in the $400 range is absolutely nuts. I mean, we were playing this thing back in May and March, at $130. We're knocking on 400. But huge comeback on these stocks. Maybe time flies faster than I think it is what it is. But Roku, good play almost on a daily basis. Not quite. SBE, this is battery as well as energy, I guess, back with Plug and Blink. This plays along with it. Snap, like I said, the whole Twitter batting thing that's going on right now, I think is going to affect some of these stocks. I'm not sure what it's doing in after hours. Is it? No, it's not really down in after hours. Actually, I'm on an hourly. Let me go to a daily here. It's down a little bit after hours, but not much, like a couple cents. But anyway, we'll see how it retaliates on that. But we are near all-time highs, and Snap does trade really well. Snow. I know there's a lot of people trading Snow right now. We did have a big comeback day on Thursday. Nice move from 265 all the way up here to 305. I mean, Snow is just nuts. If you can't play Snow, I'd definitely stay away from it. But if you guys don't mind the extremely violent and volatile options, then you'll love Snow. But it did come back down pretty good on Friday after seeing that high, that gap up and push. This is where we gapped up and then we fell for the day. You do got yourself kind of a double bottom right here, which I'll go ahead and throw this bar down a little bit. Double bottom right there at 298.29. If we bounce off of that, we could push on up here. And then, of course, I might get interested to play some more if I decide to. But as a whole, I kind of stay away from it. Clark, I know, loves playing Snow due to the insane volatility that it does provide. but something to pay attention to. Solo, another EV play that's been kind of getting ignored, which I don't blame them. It's literally the ugliest EV car out there. Space, it's been getting some traction. It's got action here. Something to watch. I do like Spotify. All-time high on Friday. Just came out of nowhere. Thursday and Friday. Wasn't even paying attention to this last week, but it caught my eye tonight. So I want to see what happens here this week, if we want to continue this move or not. Of course, Spy. You guys all know that we were playing Spy a lot this last week. And if you guys didn't go through the alerts, I alerted this on many times. On Thursday, which I've got the feed different now. I didn't alert it on the watch list. It was just a random alert. But Thursday, alerted some Spy calls. The move on this one was really, really good. It looks really good. The options are trading really nicely right now. If you guys can play Spy, they do pay really, really well. I love this fact that we were gapped up hard and we were near resistance right here. The whole fact that had me playing this was obviously our entire trend pushing up, but I love the play that we did push up into this favor. The strength was there. Level 2 was continually there. You got to watch Spy like a hawk, okay? I've gotten so used to Spy this year. I used to never trade Spy, but I've gotten so used to trading it that I can pretty much predict that chart pretty good. I know I called this out on Friday too, where we were starting to get a little weak here, and I started mentioning you guys, hey, I'm going to grab some puts. And some of y'all played with me, and this drop right there came out of nowhere. Didn't expect it. Didn't expect that big of a drop. Expected kind of a drop, but we kept falling, and those puts were freaking amazing. Just due to the fact that the stock was showing weakness, showing lower and lower highs. You've got these constant lows to kind of look at as a support. I grabbed some puts around that area based off this trend line right here. We broke the trend line and just fell. But anyway, it was awesome. I hope you guys made really good. I think Lopez said he made 40% of his account on that move. It was pretty nuts. Chris Ace, just make sure you follow your rules to the T with Spy. I didn't and paid a price. That's absolutely right, Chris. Got to follow your rules on some of this plays. But if you catch Spy right, you can make really good money, guys. But if you guys are not familiar with Spy, I don't suggest you trading it unless I throw an alert out there and you guys can kind of trade the alert. Spy is a very fickle chart. Okay. You got to realize it takes Tesla, it takes Amazon, it takes Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, all those different stocks to make Spy move. Okay. And you guys know that I show it up here on Finviz quite often, with the heat map, that all these little stocks right here represent Spy. Okay. If one sector is doing really well, then it's going to help push up Spy in the favor. If one sector is doing really bad, then this right here is hurting Spy for the day. But Spy was really good on Friday. It was really good on Thursday due to the fact that all these little sectors were, pushing up in a strong manner. So it really helped make Spy some really good money this past week. So I'm going to probably play some more with it this week if it looks like it's going to give an ample opportunity. And if it does, I'm going to throw that alert out there for you guys, and you can trade along with me or if you like to. SQ, Bitcoin, bank, play, whatever you want to call it, does play along with that. So keeping a watch. Almost done here, guys. Just a few more tickers. TAN is a solar ETF. Got a long commons on this play. This thing has been astronomical. It continually grows. But a long-term investment play on this one. I think it's going to be a $200, maybe even a $300 stock by end of this year. I know that sounds wild, but I wouldn't put it past it. TAN has got a lot of upside due to the fact it does represent a lot of this solar. And if solar is going to be strong this year with the growth of that, then I expect this to most likely play along with it. TLS, another stock than just watching. Tesla, crazy move. Got a gap though. We breaking 900 or what? We got really close to it on Friday. I'm going to be watching it. You guys know every time it breaks $100 area, it wants to run to the next $100 area. So if we break $900, we got $1,000 on the doorstep. Okay. So this thing is just gone. Okay. And there's a lot of upside with EV this year. There's earnings coming up. That's correct. Tractor Boy earnings are coming up. What was it? The 28th, I think we talked about. I'll go back and double check here real quick. 27th. So right here shows the 27th. So that in that sense, you got earnings coming up for it. A lot of people like to play this in anticipation of it. So if you guys don't mind holding some $28, some Tesla 28 expiration calls, you probably do pretty dang good. So let's just say we do January, okay, 29th. January $1,000 29s. You're probably in good shape. Yeah, $35 here. Man, they got a lot of volume too. $19 at the low, 38, 30 is the high. I may actually grab some of these and hang on. So something to watch as we continue playing. I do notice though with Tesla, it does like to drop right before earnings for the first little while. Sometimes it's not that way every time. With this massive amount of move, quite a bit early, we could actually come up here, maybe knock on the 1,000, knock on 950s or whatever, and then start pulling on back down and then push back up again. Okay. So keep that in mind. Perception is everything with this stock. Some people like you and I are like, oh, well, let me buy calls 2 weeks in advance or 3 weeks in advance because they got earnings coming up, and the run gets exhausted before earnings even come. Okay. So that perception of this really just runs. And they're like, okay, well, we got a whole week of earnings ahead of us. I better start taking profits here because the buyers are non-existent. Okay, the supply all of a sudden overwhelms the demand. It's like it's already ran, too early for the earnings already. So something to keep in mind with Tesla. It does like to run early before earnings and then fall back and then push back up, like the final 2 days up to earnings. TSM earnings this week. We talked about that one. Watt has been dancing above this trend line, pushing up as well. Wells Fargo, bank stock we're talked about. Workhorse, another EV stock to keep on your list. Strong moves on this one this past week. So something to keep in mind as well. XPV, watching this one, is another China EV play that has done really well. I'm kind of waiting to see if we decide to break up here to see new highs or not. But this one trades really well. And of course, we got this little zoom down here. It's got this gap to fill at 325, and it's got a lower trend line right here. I don't know if we'll see this or not, but I'm watching this for any sign of bounce, okay? And when this thing bounces, it's going to probably bounce on up here to 400 plus, okay? So just something to keep in mind, to see if this decides to reverse or not. For right now, it's not a trade at all. I do want to respect this around this 340 area. If it does break, we'll see 325. If we don't, it may avoid the gap altogether and bounce. So we'll see what happens on that in the possibly this week. Anyway, guys, that's all I had for tonight on some of these stocks. Definitely go to StockTwits, check that earnings calendar if you guys are interested. I know Tractor's talking about Amazon earnings coming up as well, which is the 28th. Kind of gives yourself a little bit of a head start and check out some of those charts and pre-plan your weeks upcoming. But anyway, I'll go over the chat here and see exactly what you guys are talking about. McDonald's burger and swap. Okay, America don't like to wait for nothing. Get a McDonald's burger, swap your near car battery in a 20-minute run. That's what America. That's true. Chef talks about GELYF. That's a risky play, man. I mean, it's running with Baidu, but if you're not familiar with OTC, I wouldn't touch it. I'm playing it myself, but it's pretty risky. Target ripped also the last few days. I'll check out Target. Yeah, Target has ripped. When's earnings coming up on? Nah, earnings are coming up probably February sometime. If February or March for earnings on this one. That's a good move on Target. And this one pays really good. I'll go ahead and throw it up here and watch it this week. Michael Smith, can you check out SGMO, Biotech Gene Editing Company? Sure. SGMO. Not a bad little chart there. Looks like it's made some runs back in early December. What do options look? Looks like we had a neutral day on Friday. Say we got some resistance here, though. we break Friday's high, we could see PT1 right there, PT2 right there, or actually right there. I'll space these out on a 2-minute candle. Give myself a couple in here and go for it. See what that looks like. Okay. So yeah, we had some resistance right here actually. I'd say we break that, could possibly be an entry right there. Break of 1718. Have a PT1 right there around 1751. We'll go back to an hourly chart here. Multiple time frame analysis, guys, if you see what I'm doing here. I would say we got a PT around right there off an hourly chart. I'm going to throw another one right here. Throw another one through there. And you kind of have your PT, your entry 1, 2, 3, 4. PTs 1 through 4, which give you roughly $1 move right there, which is not surprising for this little stock. Looks like options on that one. Wow, they're cheap, $80. Oh, options are a little bit rough though, guys. Decent open interest, but man, that's a 20-cent spread. Let's see what February's look like. That's a little better. Still very low volume. That spread right there could kill you if you ain't careful. What about in the money? Yeah, it's still rough. I mean, the best looking ones I see here, obviously these 18s, but still, that's a little rough. $1.35 low, $1.95, 98 high. Theta and Delta is really good. The only part I have is this: there's not many people trading this stock, which is getting you low volume and a very spready option. So, if I was to play this one, I'd probably play that option, but I'd be very careful of it. Especially the January 15th is dangerous as hell, being a 20-cent spread and next to no contracts flowing through there. Melly. I know I've charted Melly before. I'm not sure why I did. I know I've threw a chart up on this one before. What is Melly? McAdollery. $1,000 stock. Yeah, you're near some all-time highs up here. It's a pretty good move on Friday too. Not familiar with Melly though. I'm just going to do a little analysis here, see what some PTs could be though for it. We got to have a little resistance right there. I'm going to throw this up on an hourly. Space those out appropriately. Yep, they look pretty good. I could actually throw this one up here. Throw that one around right there. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, let's take a look at some extra lines to throw on this one. So in that sense, I'm going to grab myself a fib tool, pull it from the low. I'm going to space these out in coordination to the measurements on these candles from opens and closes. Okay, I've got multiple spots right there, and I can throw my spacing up through here. So in that sense right there, if we start breaking some of these candle wicks, some of these opens and closes, 1743 would be next, 1758 and 1770 and so on. If we start breaking those highs, Joel, yeah, it could be a potential play there, buddy. No problem, Zach. Thank you. Mike Biden wants 2000. What's about Cat and PH? Cat and PH. Take a look at those. Caterpillar. Man, Caterpillar pushing. Is this all-time highs? Yes, it is all-time highs. Nice chart on Caterpillar. I'm gonna erase all this other old charting that I had on it. Start from scratch on this one. Let's see here. So we had some two highs right there on Wednesday and Thursday, looks like. Can't break it, but it does look like it may try to come back up on either tomorrow or Tuesday and try to break that. Caterpillar looks pretty good. If you guys don't mind playing, I think options are fairly cheap on this one, if I'm not mistaken. Actually throw this one up and actually watch it a little bit. See what targets would be beyond that point. I'm gonna grab it from there. Oh, get the 3-point. I'm gonna grab it from here. Space these out. Boom, boom. There we go. Maybe we break 197.31. We'll start seeing the 50, 40, 41, 201s, and so on. Not a bad chart on Caterpillar, actually. You could probably play you some 200s. Yeah, there you go. Not bad. Delta's okay. Theta's rough. You may want to grab February. That Theta will kill you. 200s. Yeah, Delta's good. Theta's not bad. I'd probably play these 200s. You could probably play January 15s if you wanted to, just close to the money, like 195 here. Man, that is still terrible. 21 freaking cents. Jeez. It's double though. At least your delta is double than your theta. If you see a strong move on it, then you could probably play those. But if you, as far as a holding it overnight kind of play, it's pretty trashy unless you get you some time on there. Target, as per CEO, is the main beneficiary of those stimulus checks based on the last check of 1,200. Interesting. Was not aware of that. PH. I'll check PH too. That was another mention. Yeah, not a bad looking chart. Is this all-time highs? Yes, it is all-time highs. Very nice. Look at some resistances up through here. Some supports. $286s. Let's take a look at those options. No volume. Zero volume on the options. Look at that. That's a no-go. Yeah. I'd stay far away from PH as an option trade. Maybe as a commons if you want to play commons, but definitely not options. What about far out? You can see if it's still trash. Nobody's trading options on PH, but as a commons play, if you want to play $286 a share, then by all means go for it. How do you draw your fibs? I draw them based off of opens and close. I don't use the fib as a fib tool, unfortunately. Everybody calls me crazy, but I'm literally basing it off these lines. Okay, the spacing, I'm basing it off of. Let me see if I can draw it real quick and just show you. Literally basing it off of measurements of the candles. Okay, now I'm all about price action, so I'm literally measuring the candles, okay, with the spacing of why I do the dotted line there. So I'm basing it off of this candle and this candle right here. You see how the lines are literally kissing both of those. I've got candles kissing it there. I've got a candle kissing it there. This one's barely through it, and that one's barely through. So I've got 3 points of contact touching that, which gives me the spacing of this and this. Then I see how we're stretching it up, that this is a closing and this is an opening price, shows me that that line is pretty prominent. Now, there is no 100% guarantee that this stock goes up here and says we hit 289.47, we're going to pull back. But I can almost be certain we will. Not with 100% certainty, but with very close to it. So I'm trying to find areas of resistance that I can consider as price targets beyond blue skies, okay, beyond new high, all-time highs. So I try to measure off of these previous candles in order to space out my pivots or my fibs, as you will, so I can verify the movements from the fibs beyond those measurements, if that makes sense. Because it's been pretty accurate. It's worked out pretty good in my favor to do that. To play out pretty nicely. That it's not necessarily based off of highs and lows to draw fibs. I hope that explains it there, Metal. SNDL, Sir Alex. I shall definitely check that for you, buddy. SNDL. Holding some commons on this around $65. So, I mean, I hope this one kind of pushes on through. I'd love to start seeing 80s and beyond. But it seems like 70, 71, 72. It's kind of been a little bit of a struggle for it. So if we can push through that area right there, I'd love to see us start breaking on up here to 80s. But yeah, I like SNDL. It's just a very slow mover. I just got a few shares around 65 Kira as far as on SNDL. Nothing crazy. Okay, Melly is Amazon of South America. Okay, interesting. Or more like eBay, but yes, it's been doing well. Okay, there you go, Dan. Okay, Derek talks about LB moved well last week as the daily shows there's some good open interest as well. Example, the $47.50 calls for January 15th, but the spreads in and a little out of the money seem excessive. Am I seeing this correctly? I'll check it, Derek. LB. What's your chart look like? Oh, nice move, nice move. For one reason, you're probably looking at the half is what's hurting those options. Round numbers, they like to play better, but let's see if what our options here are. Okay, we've got 47. Yeah, that's excessive for sure. Even 48s are excessive. I'd probably stick with 47. 47's low open interest though. To be honest, I'd probably add time on this one due to that excessive spread, and just choose a 50. Yeah, 50 is a little better. It's still a little spreading. It's just not a lot of volume on those options. Is what I'm saying here. Not a lot of good activity on that. So it may be a play that I avoid altogether. Let's see, February 26th. Yeah, that's even rough. I'd probably avoid it altogether unless you don't mind playing a small position on this. In the 50 February 19th. January 15s are a little bit rough. 47s are almost workable. Those 47 or halves are definitely a no bueno for me, even though there is a ton of open interest. That spread is excessive. Brian, wow, are those multiple lines special features on Transpire? I draw all my own lines, Brian. They do, of course. Let's just say I remove everything here. You can hit the trend lines, and of course they have their own lines, and then you can add all their lines, and of course they have their own trend lines there if you want to. See if it does anymore. Yeah, there it refreshes them. And if you like them, you can just double click on it and it stays there. Double click it, double click it, double click it. And of course, it's going to give you some type of trend line to some degree, but to me, I like to draw my own. So I tend to do all that myself. F Tech, R Rich says F Tech. Okay, I'll check out F Tech. Not a bad looking chart on F Tech. What is F Tech? Fuel Tech? Huh. Not a bad little move between last week from 381 to 576. Probably see some highs through here. Sevens. It's a wicky ass candle right there on November. What do options look like on F Tech? Okay. That's not actually bad. Actually, that's a good option. Actually, $6 January 15th. Only 5-cent spread. Good volume. Delta's really good. That is not bad at all. Yeah, R Rich. Actually, that's not a bad play, buddy. I'd say we break. Look to break. All right, let me throw some up this and let me see what I can play with here. Up a couple trends, and then I'm gonna go to a 2-minute candle. See if I got an hour, or actually an hourly. Go to an hourly here. See what I've got to play with. Okay, so we've got our high to break as an entry point. I've got this as a PT1, PT2, and PT3. So roughly, you've got entry at 587, PT1 608, 639, 704. I am not familiar with trading this, so I don't know how well everything moves, but it looks like it's in good shape to make new highs there. Rich, I like that one actually. Dan says yes. Derek, spreads look thin. Thank you, Mike. LAC, did we miss it? I set an alert at $20. $20 call same 5. LAC, I'll check it out. Lithium America's Corp. Okay. I'm assuming this sounds like battery to me, but let's take a look at that daily. Yeah, that is a big miss. Nice chart. Loving that break right there. That's beautiful. Completely out of it. But it looks like we may do it again. So watch it do it again. Okay. So be wary of that, guys. It may do this right here and then break out again, and then follow a trend line. Something to keep in mind. We'll see. That's ahead of time right now.
Mike, somebody mentioned eBay, and I looked at the chart. It looks like it's in an interesting spot.
Okay. Well, I've got 27 messages here, so I'm going down the list, guys.
Wow.
Going down the list. Yeah, LAC looks pretty good. I'll see if I can get to the options here. $20, yeah, $20 calls look really good. I like that one, Dan. Looks really good as long as that chart continues to grow. That's really nice, actually. I'm going to throw that on my watch list. I'll watch it this week. It looks good. Odison. Okay, Neo got a $70 price target. Okay. From Bofa. Bofa gave it. How does it do the curved lines that I see on your charts? I just showed Chris H. But I'll show again if I need to here. Literally hit the log button, draw your trend line based off of this line right here, okay? And then I hit the log button again and it curves it. See that? Pretty simple. GE with earnings around the corner. Yeah, GE looks good. I think I charted this one somebody on Twitter today is why I've got it up here. Not familiar with playing GE, but it could definitely look good. It looks good there. UNVR from Raj, okay. UNVR. Looks like we're coming on up here some resistance pretty soon. Right around here. Looks like we got some right there too. It's around 2110. Not a bad little push. It looks like it broke out of this $19 range. It looks like a slow mover. Let's take a look at those options. Yeah, no, I wouldn't play. I wouldn't touch options on this stock with a 10-foot pull. I'm sorry. No spread, no volume. Look at this. This is miserable even for February. But if you like commons on this one, by all means, it's probably not a bad commons play, but definitely not an options play. Tomorrow, Derek. Yeah, we're gonna kill it tomorrow. Ford. Any thoughts on Ford? F. I hate Ford, just to be honest.
It's a turd.
I hate it, man. If you want to ask me about Ford, I'll tell you that if you like seeing the inside of your eyeballs all day long and there's no motion, then play Ford.
I've had 2 lemons from Fords.
So you're talking about as a vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ford is super, super slow. Okay. Why Ford is so super slow is it has a massive cojones of a float. Okay. It's got billions of shares in there. And that's why it's still an $8, $9 stock. I mean, people are like, man, well, Tesla's at, almost 1,000 and GE's already up here at 35 and $40, or GM, I mean. And all these other companies like Neo and all this other stuff is like booming. You can't base it off of the share price, okay? As you guys will learn, I know some of you guys are definitely students in here tonight, but we'll talk about share structure and how that share structure really is everything to do with how a stock moves up in price and moves down in price based off that share structure. And when you got a stock like Ford, where the share structure is so freaking fat that it literally takes billions and billions and billions of dollars to make the stock move. So of course, when it moves slow as a share price on the stock, I mean, look, our lows are down here in the $5, $4, high threes, low fours, all the way up here to $8, $9. It's not a crazy move. I'm sure it's 100% move, but it's not crazy move for other comparable stocks. But if you don't mind hanging on to it for a long time, you can play Ford. It's just you're going to be sitting there for a long, long time before you get movement. That's why options are super, super cheap on Ford. And you see how much volume they get. They do get plenty of volume. And you can play some of these options if you don't mind them. But as a whole, it's super slow. Ford looks like it is trying to come back up here. Maybe to the 935s, 945s. Did have a pullback day on Friday, so tomorrow he could actually have a comeback day and try pushing up. Maybe put in a candle like that. We'll see. Used to trade Ford and GE because cheap and high volume. 3 months lost until I realized I needed to change my strategy to make money. FE, GE, NRZ, Epic fail. Yeah, those stocks are slow, man. That's kind of why I kind of stay away from them, just due to the fact that they're hard to trade, especially as an option trader. If you don't mind as a long-term investor with some common shares or something, they're okay. But as an option trader, they're slow. All right, guys, that looks like I caught up with all the questions there. Any other questions you guys got for me tonight before we call it a night? Oh, you talked about something, Float. What was that you wanted to look at?
Oh, I just heard the mention of eBay, so I looked at the chart real quick. It looks like an interesting spot.
eBay. Yeah. That is an interesting spot. Huh.
And even if you go look all the way to the left where it's at right now, that was a
54.38. So
neat candle.
Last week actually was pretty. I mean, it's only a $4.50 move, but still, it's pretty good for eBay. What do options look like though? 55s. Yeah, 55s for January 15th ain't bad. It looks like they had a low of 33 and a high of 78. If I was going to play eBay, I'd definitely play the option right next to it.
Right in it, yeah.
Right, yeah, 55s.
Yeah.
Pretty much at the money. That's not a bad looking contract. If we break that, you could probably play some 55s. And then maybe start shooting on up through these levels. It's been a while since I've played eBay. $54.94. Yeah, I know you've had your days with eBay. Had some hard lessons there, but hey, I like the enthusiasm. You're coming back. Absolutely. Yeah, I may throw this on the list, man. There might be a play there. Might be a play there.
You know what's cool? When you add to that list, it shows up on mine instantly.
Oh, that's cool. Is it showing up on yours now?
Yeah, the subscriber. The minute you add it, it comes right to it.
Good deal. That's cool. Any other questions, guys? Freaky Fast, you have a good one, buddy. All right, guys. Well, have yourself a good night. Chef, are you holding long options on Neo, hoping to hit the $100? No, I'm not holding any long options, Chef, on Neo. Just long common shares. I only day trade options on Neo. RDFN. Sure, I'll take a look at it. RDFN. Redfin. Ooh. Man, Sneaky Baboon. He comes up with some pretty good charts. You're on top of it, man. That is a pretty good chart. A pretty good chart indeed. No problem, Chef. Glad I could be of service, man. My man. 83s, 84s. I like this one. Baboon. I'm gonna throw her up there too on my watch. RDFN. Let's take a look at these options. Yes, Odison, I do have commons on Clove. No options, just commons. Just stop by. Long options in Neo. That would be moist, huh? Okay. Yeah, if you get some long common or long options out there with like 6 months or a year. I know what you meant, just stopping by.
I'm pretty sure that's what he's got.
If you got like really good expiration time, then maybe, but I'm only holding commons. $80 calls on this one, Baboon, look actually pretty good. The Theta is a little rough. But as a day trade, you could make that work. February 19s. Tolerable. These are tolerable right here. 500 to 540s. That's not bad. A little bit low on volume, but it's still workable. No moisture yet. Yeah, it's definitely building for the 1,000%er there. I like that one, Baboon. Looks good, buddy.
What stock does JSB have that's not in the 1,000%er club? That's probably more better question.
What is what?
What stock does he have that's not in the 1,000%er club? Every stock he plays.
I don't know. New on the block says, could you post some long swing option ideas? I don't swing long options, but if some of the guys or admins like to, they'll post them right here in the admin alerts. I just threw this up there this weekend. So yeah, admins, if you're on tonight, if you got long option ideas, throw them up there in this little chat room because it is easy to get lost in the clutter of the main room there. I'm going for Veil this time for the 1,000%er. Okay, yeah, Veil's been kind of a play that's been in the past. It's definitely been on an upstream there for a while. All right, gentlemen. Any other questions before we call it a night? All right, gentlemen. Well, y'all have yourself a good night.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Y'all have yourself a good night, and I will see y'all in the morning.
And right Neo to the moon.
There you go. Have a good night, guys.